just a remarkable week. In Florida, at a state park, Swanee Music Camp and Park to be exact. And now, it's a road trip home, guys. It's a road trip. Well, not home. Just back to the cottage retreat. Because to me, home is where you land your wheels, or, you know, where you are for a little while. I'm already thinking about where I'm going to go next. And to be honest with you, you know, through the years, you're like excited to get back home. But I'm not feeling that, you know. I could keep going. I really could. Part of it is because I am going home to four walls. Nobody there that's going to greet me. Yes, I'm finding a local church and I'm volunteering and I have neighbors in the distance. But it's just not the same as camping and traveling and being out amongst people and meeting new people and hearing people's stories. So with no further ado, I am going to talk to you a little bit about how it all went and what I'm feeling about going back to my retreat versus living life on the road. And I hope you'll join. Linda here, Serene and Simple Life. And yes, a serene and simple life it is. Living now part-time in my Toyota Highlander SUV. It's a 2012. Oh, we're going on about 195,000 miles. And for those of you who are new, it's just been about 6 weeks ago. Of course, you're seeing this a little bit later now. That I built a 20 by 20, what I was calling a micro home, same as a tiny home. I wanted a landing zone. When I took off 2018, I always knew I wanted a landing zone, and I wanted to own it outright. I did not want to lease. I didn't want to rent. I didn't want to go into debt, none of it. So I took off into the great unknown. 3.5 years, lived first in an Acura sedan, which is a mid-size, pretty nice vehicle. But it was a 2003, so it was already 15 years old. And then it turned over 200,000 miles, and I gave it to my son, because it didn't want to really chance it. It was on its second transmission. I knew it was a great point A to point B. Years later, I find out it's still running super. I don't know if it's running like new, but last I talked to my son, it was running good. And I got this Toyota Highlander off of Facebook from some beautiful, beautiful people. And I took off, and eventually I saved enough money after working all over the country. I've worked in Washington, Montana, Utah, Florida. I saved enough money to buy a tiny home, but I didn't have enough money to purchase land as well, even though I went looking for land in East and Middle Tennessee. So I settled as God would have it. It was kind of an interim period for me, just another chapter. Got myself on a lease lot in a beautiful community, made wonderful friends. It was a beautiful, beautiful time to save some more money. Then I sold my tiny home in Georgia and hit the road again. When I sold my home, of course, I made a little profit and continued to work, first in Michigan, and then back where I was going to have the tiny home built. I continued to work while it was being built. And with all all that said, that's the story in a nutshell. To go see, do, live life large, you can go to the playlist, and I have over 1,000 videos. They're not all in the playlist of my traveling, working, playing, my business online. All of it is in the playlist. Growing, and I just wanted to give you a little backdrop. Which brings me to now, I'm heading back to my landing zone. I feel blessed beyond belief. I feel that it is a loan from the Lord. It is not mine. I don't believe anything that we have is ours. It's all His, and it's all a blessing. But this Gypsy soul spirit will never, ever go away, I don't think. As much as I love being back at my retreat, I just as much love driving, traveling, exploring new things, seeing more of the country, and meeting awesome new friends, as I did this past week. Another blessing is that I won a membership to the Escapees at the volunteer farewell. I was a volunteer at the RTR. It was my 3rd year volunteering. And actually I only volunteered 2 years. The first year I went as a newbie. And I hope to continue volunteering into the future. But when on the trip, I only had my CO, which is Certificate of Occupancy, about 5 days. Went to Arizona for a month, loved every bit of it. And then I was home 5 weeks before I took off again for this Escapees event. A solos Birds of the Feather. Was there Sunday through Friday, and I did 10 videos, including the 2 driving videos that I did getting there. One was about facing your fears and fear-mongering, and that was a driving video because I think well when I'm driving. I think that's one of the reasons I like it so much. And then the other video was I couldn't find the group, and that's quite interesting because I tried contacting people and never heard from anyone, and it didn't stop me from going. And boy, am I glad I didn't stop and say, well, didn't hear from anybody, I'm going to just stay home. Not at all. So it was a packed full week, and I'm not going to belabor that because I do have now 3 videos I did, day 1, day 2, and then we also went to the Springs, so I guess you could say 3 different videos of the events. Not all of the events, as last couple days I stopped videoing and just hung out with people, and I did 3 wonderful interviews with people in their rigs. One, a widow for several years in a beautiful Lazy Days, and then that was Linda, and then Kathy, in 80, almost 82 years old. She said she's more 82 than 81. And her wonderful rig. And then last day, I interviewed and toured Nancy and Bob's beautiful, beautiful Class A. So if you want to go back and catch what the week looked like and maybe be interested in joining the Escapees or the Solos Birds of a Feather, you can go to escapees.com, and then it takes you to different communities. They have all kinds of birds of a feather. But I'm going to tell you guys what I got out of it, and I have no notes. This is totally off the top of my head from my heart. Is everything I knew all along. But now this just made it really real for me. Is that I love sleeping in the SUV, believe it or not, just as much as being in my recliner at home. I love waking up in the morning and taking the shade right off of my window here and trees surrounding me, or the rest area, cars in the distance, beautiful building, picnic tables, hearing the nature, looking out my window and seeing a squirrel hopping around, not being in a literal four walls. And I don't know if you're going to understand that or not unless you've experienced it, unless you embrace it. It might sound like crazy to you because some people have commented, not many, I can't believe you're leaving that beautiful home already. And I know they mean it as a compliment, but that home is going to be there when I get back, God willing. And again, a blessing, but saving money, I was able to get the home and the land with no debt so that I could have the opportunity to live life large and go see do. I am energized. This kind of lifestyle energizes me. I met an 81-year-old, Kathy. Bob is 84, and met an 86-year-old lady. You wouldn't think they were a day over 70, 65, 70. I'm just saying. And their health is good, and I know it has to do with nature. So it's not like I'm going back to my retreat and saying, okay, now I'm going to get sick. You know, I wake up, I open the windows, I hear the birds. I have a picnic table in the back. I'm so looking forward to, renting the RV spot. At the moment, come May, is when I think it's going to be the kickoff. I'll do another video. 125 a week, 25 a night, whether you're car camping or whether you're in an RV. I'm not going to, differentiate. I'd say $5 less if you want, if you're car camping and you're not hooking up. I have a 30 amp. But it's just a way to share my land in a way that I can keep going, keep doing this channel, keep traveling. It's a source of income. I've had many neighbors say I should charge more, so hopefully that's good for you, And again, I'll do another video, but it's going to be, if you want to learn from me and ask me a million questions, that's great. If you want to be by yourself, you let me know, that's great too. I go either way. Which again brings me to friendships. I'm a little bit of both. I can be totally happy being introverted, being quiet, being on my own. But then it's almost like my tank gets emptied then, and I need a refill of friends. And then I'm filled to the brim, and then I bring the gauge down again, where being by myself is a good thing. So I know within a month, the gauge is full now, and it'll slowly start to dissipate, where it's like, okay, I need my tank filled up again. And many of us were in agreement that as you get older, and I'm 65, your sphere of friends shrinks. And that even happens in your 30s and 40s. You've got friends at work, you've got friends at church, you've got your neighborhood, maybe the kids' activities. And when the kids grow up and you're retired, and maybe you're in the same neighborhood, maybe you're not. A lot of people keep to themselves, in their neighborhood. You don't know many people like back in the day. You no longer have the kids' activities. Maybe you only have your own activities in church, but you've got a small sphere of influence. When you are out on the road and you are going and seeing and doing, again, this was another thing that was brought up. People say, you traveling by yourself? Well, yes. And then there's the but. My phone was falling over. The but is, I could meet a new person every single day for the rest of my life. Just about. Maybe a little bit of an exaggeration. If I'm not traveling, of course. Every day. and add to my circle of friends. So now these friends might be just for a reason, some of them might be just a season, maybe through next year, and we'll never think of each other again. And some now could be from my point of 65 till we see each other in heaven, hopefully. They could be the lifetime friends. You just never know. So I think that's the best way to describe it. My tank is full, but it's not overflowing. Usually after about, I can't really say for sure, but I know a month in Arizona, it wasn't like I couldn't wait to get back either. I wanted to take my time. But I had things to, do and wrap up. So I was glad to get back home. And I'm going to be glad, as Linda mentioned in her video, crafting is easier. I'm a crafter. You can craft, but I'm going to be doing some painting, my plaques. I have landscaping coming up, so you won't want to miss that. And with that said, I am not exactly sure as this posts when my open house will be. Now, maybe my next video, I'll tell you that. I know that some of you are disappointed that I said February, but you have to understand, this is a journey for me. And when I was excited to share the open house, which I kind of did, I did my moving in day. So if you want to actually see the layout, you can go back to the moving in day. And I don't mean to be like, but I need grace here, because just because I said February and I had good intentions for that, I've stretched the goal out further. Like if you want to get on the road, okay, I want to be on the road in 3 months. Well, something comes up and it's 5 months. It doesn't mean that you failed at your goal and what you want to do. It just means you've pushed it a little further out. I have a goal to do an open house with you where it's officially done. But I have painting that got done. I hope you enjoyed those videos. That's a 4-part series. And thank you, Patrick, from the bottom of my heart once again. And then I have landscaping, which is what I was mentioning to you. I still want to get my porch screened in. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know if I'll do my open house before it or after it. I actually have a beautiful plant that one of you gave me that is being taken care of at a tiny home in Georgia. And I also interviewed her, Dixie. Thank you, Dixie. She's been babysitting it. She loves having it, and she's taking good care of it. But I'd like to go pick up that plant and hang it before the open house, because really I did do something to show you the interior already. I just haven't shown you it fully decorated. Another thing is I'm moving furniture around. So instead of having it done and then being like, man, I wish I'd have had it done this way for the open house, I feel like I'm really zeroing in things that I didn't do in my last tiny home to get it right for me, how I want it to look. So with that said, the open house might not come till May, June. I'm not going to put a time on it. By midsummer, we should have an open house. But I'm going to go back. I'm going to save some more money so that I can pay for my landscaping. I have a wish list of lots of things. It's down below in the description if you want to look at it. And that doesn't mean, buy me a gift by any stretch of the imagination. But if you're so inclined, that's awesome too. I'm grateful. Just helps the channel, helps me to keep going. I look at the wish list and there are certain things I would like to get. I've got a fireplace on the wish list. Do I need that now? No. But it keeps things that I've been looking at in line there. And I have I want to give some of my furniture some facelifts, some things that I spray painted and painted that I showed you in my last tiny home. So I've got lots to do, and I'm, speaking of that, then I'm excited. I hope you will subscribe, click the bell, give this one a thumbs up. It really does help one more person. It helps the algorithm and for one more person to see this, and maybe you will be the catalyst for change in their life. You'll be making a difference through sharing this video and just giving it the thumbs up kudos, appreciate that. And being a subscriber, there's only about, less than 50% of you maybe that are subscribed. But you have to go into your, and see that if you're subscribed, it's free. And We're almost at 40,000 followers, which I'm very excited about. A goal, I would love to say, sure, 75,000 by the end of 24. Who knows? You know, the sky's the limit, the world's the limit. This is God's playground. Even though I've seen every state except Alaska, I know that I have just scratched the surface, and I wanted to continue living life large as long as I can, as long as God blesses me with new adventures and new opportunities to get out here behind the wheel. This is Happy Haven. Andy is my co-pilot. Many of you know Andy for years and years now. My daughter gifted me this Build-A-Bear fun time memory that I will have forever. So Andy travels with me, and who knows, into the future I may Nancy and Bob was a very cool story, and you know, I'd love to have I'd love to be married again. I don't know how God will have that worked out, but he certainly needs to be a traveler, and that we could go do together. That would be fun. In the meantime, I'll go home, I'll enjoy my picnic table, I'll enjoy this beautiful spring weather and getting more projects done. And then, I don't know, I'm thinking my next trip will be to say hey to my friends at my tiny home community that I left it'll be just about a year now since I left that tiny home and sold my tiny home, and we can go say hi to the tiny home from the outside, and meet up with Robbie and Dixie and some of the people, the wonderful people that I met. And that might be my next little excursion, because right now I'm not going to go too far, because I do need to save my dollars for those upcoming projects. A little random throw in here is being part introvert, part extrovert. Sometimes in the middle, I don't really know. Is that I was thinking one of my favorite things alone was either cozying up in here at night after a full day of friendship, just cozy in here, watching some YouTube, working on editing my videos, which sometimes I did for hours on end in the morning by myself or at night. This past week, you don't do 10 videos without trying to keep up. And one of my favorite things with friends was the hikes, even if it was just like two of us, when I showed you Bob and I talking together, or you know, talking about the bat house, or talking about or what we were seeing at the tree house, and you know, somebody saying, you want me to take your picture, and that kind of thing. Even though I met people out on hikes that would do that too, and you could talk to. But and meals together, like our happy hour and our hugs and mugs in the morning. Those are things that definitely fill your tank. And those are not pills that you can take every day when you're in sticks and bricks, unless you're out and about volunteering every day and you're getting your fill with the same people. You know, put in the comments. But yeah, I loved also, one more thing is, one morning I fried an egg, and just the delight of frying an egg, putting it on a paper plate with a plastic fork, and sitting in my camp chair and just looking around me where there were no walls, and enjoying my coffee from my little folding metal table was a highlight of my day. So those are the kind of things, not the opening up the big refrigerator and pulling out your egg and using my stove and sitting down at my table by myself, but being outside. And of course, yes, I can take my breakfast and sit at the picnic table, which I'm sure I'll do. But I was just trying to narrow down a couple of the ideas of why I love traveling and being out by myself and amongst people. I love them both. Well, in a nutshell, it's the simplicity of this lifestyle. You know, some people think it's so hard living in an SUV. There's nothing hard about this at all. I love my little cooler that's only packed with a few essentials, and I figure the rest out as I go. I've got a drawer full of food, and it's all healthy now. And I don't know. Am I really going back to my cottage retreat? I am. And I'm going to love it because I love wherever I am in the moment. Guys, I know this is getting lengthy now. It's the Babbling Brook. I did want to bring some people up to speed. If you want the full story, go to the playlists. Sit and Share Sundays is where you will find some of my top watch videos, including my personal story. And a video that was done very well too about my life and my kids' life and how that all ties into. With that, blessings in your day and joy in your journey and your friendships, however that looks for you. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Oh yeah, one more thing. That traveling companion that's out there, gotta love Jesus too. That's number one. Later.